who I was trying to remember yesterday. I couldn't remember his name for the life of me. I think it was yesterday. Steve Jobs. Crazy. Anyway, it's Wednesday, April the 7th, 2021. I'm just reading right there. That right. I'm just reading it. This is show number. Actually, you know what? It's show number 8. So I'm going to change it right now while we're here. I think it's show number 8. I'm going to change it right now. There you go. Show number 8. There it is. I see it on the monitor over there / big screen. Anyway, Wednesday, April the 7th, 2020. How are you? I hope you're good. I'm excited. I'm telling you. I'm so fortunate to be able to sit here on this couch, on this broadcast, and share with you, I don't know, maybe 30 years, how old am I, 54? At the mortgage company when I was 19. Let's just start there. I don't think we need to start at my paper route, right? No, I was 19? Yeah, I was 19. I think I was 19 or 20. So let's just start there. Let's start with the mortgage company at 19 or 20. 34 years. I'm going to share with you 34 years of experience. Let me put this on mute. Do not disturb. You have to forgive me. We're just getting started, so I'm a one-man show. Well, that's not true because I do have a team. I have a small team, but I do have a team. You can't do anything without a team. I couldn't be where I'm at without a team. Couldn't. Anyway, thanks a lot. Welcome to the broadcast. This is the broadcast. Now, it is really, truly the broadcast with Paul C. Dozier, but I don't like saying Paul C. Dozier because that's like, it's almost like speaking in the third person. My grandson does that. He speaks of himself in the third person. I don't want to do that. I don't want to speak of myself in the third person. So I just call it the broadcast. You can say with Paul C. Dozier if you like. But I'm glad you're here. No, I was thinking about Steve Jobs because I was trying to remember who Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. Bill Gates, Steve Jobs was... Bill Gates was rough. Steve Jobs was rough too. These guys, they were rough. And if you have to look back at show number, I think this is show number 8, because I have an 8 there, so I just changed it. I forgot to change the 8 on the screen here. If you look at back at show number 7, you'll see why I said that. And listen, and like I explained to all of you often at times, I'm not giving you an original thought. I'm giving you the thoughts of those who have done it before. I'm just translating it into our common people language so that we can hear it. We have a lot of, I learned this from a guy that I respect a lot, and he got it from a guy he respects a lot. We have a lot of scotomas in our life. Don't ask me how to spell it. I don't know how to spell it. But keep in mind, everything that I say in this broadcast, I always encourage you, 2 Timothy 2:15. Take what I say and research it. I have a client I'm working with right now, and we were talking, and she was asking me my opinion, and I'm in my position, I'm supposed to give opinion. I still don't give opinion. I say, listen, I'm going to ask you some questions, and I want you to figure it out for yourself. And she says, okay, I got you. And so we've been going back for the last couple of days working out a particular type of plan. Because I got plenty of time. What I'm not going to do is make a mistake on purpose. I'm going to draw in all... But class has started, and I hope you realize that. I had a mentor years ago that, you know, I would go into in here in LA. I don't know where you're at, but here in LA, there's an area called Huntington Beach, or Huntington Harbor is where his office. But anyway, right near Seal Beach, and I would go to his office, and he would challenge me and he would only let me come once a year. And I went more than a few times. 6, 7 times over the years. No, I went more than that, I think. Anyway, he would challenge me by having multiple conversations all at the same time. Very successful guy. I think now he's about 90, late 80s, 90 years old. Very smart guy. Still has his real estate development company, but his son has taken that over. He always taught me by conversation, which I think is partially where I got this idea from. And if you've ever listened to me, I don't believe in the step 1, step 2, step 3, because I don't know where you're at. You may have more experience than me. I teach principles. There are no steps. There are only principles. But to get to those particular principles, there are obviously certain things that it's not obvious to everybody, but there are there are things that you have to do to be able to activate certain principles. In other words, before you can start operating on people, you probably need to go to school or have been around someone for a long period of time that has been operating on people. You have to know something about anatomy. So I teach you the anatomy of success for business owners. Now, again, as I've said in the past, there's nothing wrong with being an employee. There's nothing wrong. Now, I personally believe employees are different. I personally believe employees are apprentices. But there's nothing wrong with being an employee. There's nothing wrong with being self-employed. A lot of us in our communities have confused being self-employed with being business owners. And yes, I'm talking about this over and over again because until you get... And like I say, study it. When you file your paperwork as a sole proprietor, they don't call someone who files paperwork as an LLC or an S Corp or a C Corp the same as a sole proprietor. The LLC, the S Corp, and C Corps have more options. That's because they're different. So a sole proprietor is not a limited liability corporation, an S Corp, or a C Corp. We're starting to get more specific now if you've been waiting. This is show 8, class 8, if you will. So we're getting a little bit more granular, but I can't do that until you understand some basics. And again, if you don't believe me, which in the African American community, we have to get over our trust issues, at least take the time to study. If you're not going to study, just trust me. But there's a reason why sole proprietor is called something different than LLC, because obviously they're different. Self-employed is sole proprietor. Specifically, you can do a single member LLC. But even with a single member LLC, chances are the reason why they're doing that is to limit their liability with the partners that they're working with. who, generally speaking, have their own companies as well. Now, I don't want to start there with you because before we go there, I really want to talk about innovation and what innovation is, because it's a big word that we all use, but we really don't know what innovation is. So I'm going to focus this whole next 49, 50, or short. It could be shorter. I doubt it. And listen, like I said, I'm doing this full hour without breaks, cartoons, commercials. And I love it. It's just fantastic. It's been my dream. But what I'm going to do, all depending on the response to this, I think, like I said before, I'm going to lock this up on YouTube and my website once we complete this particular series. And just charge people 49 cents, because this really is good stuff. If you truly are taking notes or truly are listening to it over and over and over again. Now, I know I deliver it in a very casual way, but please take the information seriously. If you want to see my resume, please go to Dozier.com, go to the About page, and then touch that. Then there'll be a drop-down menu that will say About Paul, and you can look at my resume. I'm not big on talking about my resume. It impresses some, and it doesn't impress others. But what's the most impressive to me is learning what principles are. Because the principles that we're talking about on this show are true for everyone, billionaire, thousandaire, poorinaire. The difference is, and you've heard me say this before, obedience and sacrifice. Obedience and sacrifice. What are you willing to do to become a business owner? What are you willing to do? What obedience are you willing to follow? What sacrifices are you willing to make? Those are principles. They're principles. It's not an emotional thing where this guy over here can be successful, but I can't be successful because of this, that, and the other. It's not true. We can all be successful. Success is open to all of us. However, you have to be willing to pay the prices. I said prices. I didn't say the price. You have to be willing to pay the prices that you have to pay. The prices. What are the prices? Well, quite frankly, and I hope you're taking notes, there are lots of them. Time is a price that you have to pay. Study is a price that you have to pay. Study to show yourself approved. You cannot get rid of time. Sacrifice is a price you have to pay. I'm giving you stuff right now. If you think that you could sell your widget, whatever your widget is, or offer your widget, whatever your widget is, without sacrifice, obedience, time, and study. Sacrifice, obedience, time, and study. Sacrifice, obedience, time, and study. That's before we get into the characteristics of what it takes to make it even through those processes. Like patience. Time is tied to experience and wisdom and But again, I don't want to get off it. I can't get off there. But what we want to focus in on is the ability to innovate. So I'm assuming that you've already paid the time. This study will help you with the time a little bit. Because when you put successful people around you and you're willing to listen to them, and that right there is a whole study. Success is not measured by the billions of dollars in someone's pocket. If that's the case, there are only so many billionaires you can talk to. Success is measured by the ability. Please consider writing this down. Success is measured by the ability to accomplish your goals over and over again. If you can find someone that can accomplish, now maybe they don't think big enough, maybe they think too small, maybe they're comfortable, whatever. Those are different issues. But success is the ability to accomplish the goals. Some of us have the wrong idea of what success is. I was talking to a buddy of mine, very successful guy, multiple businesses, holds a position as president at one particular organization. We were sitting having a cigar, and he was telling me, and he wasn't kidding. He was dead serious when he said this. He said, "Why don't we just pull out a PowerPoint?" Keep in mind, this guy's already successful. His wife's a doctor. If he's not a doctor, he's close. He's got a job, real estate. He does it all. I think he's out on a boat somewhere. Anyway, so, and he wasn't kidding. He was like, "Let's rent a Rolls Royce and pull out because that's what people want to see. They want to see." I was like, "Man, I'm not doing. I'm not renting a Rolls Royce and." I'm not doing all that. He kind of laughed. But it's funny. That's what people see. He can afford all that stuff. He drives an Infinity. He doesn't... it's... The mentor I was telling you about in Huntington Harbor, I got to tell you this story. So I was sitting in his office one year, a few years back. I've recently talked to him, like within the last 6 months or something. And I think about this. I was sitting in his office, and he was telling me, in fact, we were walking out, and we passed this old BMW convertible with 100 and some or 200,000 miles on it or something. He said, "I think I got to buy a new car." I said, "You told me never to buy a new car." I said, "Why don't you just put 10 grand into this car and do it?" He says, "Because I don't have any money." I paused because I was, a little in shock. And listen, it's not that he was broke. Like most folks think about broke. He has a system of operating. I'm shaking my head because I just know a lot of people didn't get that. But I got to stop doing that. It's a bad habit. Where am I going with this? To be an innovator, you can't look at things from a materialistic or simple point of view. And it's not about creating something new. It's about taking something that already is and making it better. Study it for yourself. But that's what innovation is. I'm going to get back to that one there. But I want to give you an idea of what innovation is. So let me give you the definition of innovation. Oh, I'm sorry, the definition of innovate. It means to make changes in something especially by introducing new methods, ideas, or products. Making changes in something established. Okay, so wait a minute. Why I say? Because truly, 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 there is nothing new under the sun. It's a principle. Well, let me go a step further. You're not the creator, you're a creator. And the best you can do is innovate from what the creator has already created. And you've been given power to do that. I've been given power to do that. I'm not the first one to speak on a microphone. I'm the first one to do it this way, though. I am an innovator. Now, and listen, if have you looked at have you I think it's on the right side of yeah, it is on. If you're looking at the screen, just look at the right side of the screen right there. We will touch on all those subjects. I'm the first one to spell it out for you. I'm an innovator. That's if you can hear the, because there is a podcast component to this too, so you may not be able to see the screen. Economics, education, religion, labor, law, entertainment, media, sex, war. Now, I didn't create that. I really didn't. There was a great book called The ISIS Papers, and you know I'm always pointing out books on this show. I'm not going to run out, but I haven't read that many. So you might hear me repeat a few over and over again, because I've only read about 250 books. It's not that many. For someone my age, that's just not a lot. But if you're going to be an innovator, you have to be able to look at something that already is and see a way to make it better. That's the only way you can be an innovator. Why? There is nothing new. Nothing new. You know, you got the guys going to Mars and all that. That's new. Well, no, we've been looking at planets and mapping out the universe since the beginning of time. That recorded time. How about that? Because I wasn't there. But I have read God in the Cosmos. I think that was the name of it. The Cosmos and God, God in the Cosmos. Where this guy became a Christian by studying the cosmos. There's a couple of other books. There's one other book that's coming out that I really want to get by a couple of scientists, or by this one scientist. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said a couple. By this one scientist, where he talks about his experience. In fact, I saw the interview where they were trying to get him to deny God. He says, I see no conflict between, the human exploration of what is out there and the concept that we don't know how it was created. Two different concepts. They don't clash. But the truth is, the foundation for innovation has already been created. So therefore, the fact of the matter is, you have to be an innovator. Now, to be an innovator means that you can take something of some sort of substance and create something on it or something to it. And that's what we want to talk about. We want to talk about who are in. What does an innovator look like? Now I'm going to kind of back up a little bit because this is kind of big now, and I may need you to please, if you're serious about this class, this series, I need you to catch this because I'm gonna talk from a different place. There's this quote by a lady by the name of Margaret Mead. She says, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed people can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. A small group of thoughtful, committed people." Now, why did I read you that one? Because it's important that you understand that this lady is famous for the theory of founding the theory that children learn by watching adult behavior. Now, she didn't create it. She just mapped it. Okay. So, think about that on a few different planes, or a couple of different planes. I'm off in my thing. But anyway, think about it on a couple of different planes. Number one, physical children following physical adults, spiritual children following spiritual adults. Those are the two planes. If I'm going to learn something from someone, I want to learn it from the adult in the room. In whatever arena that I'm in, talking about innovating. If there's not an adult in the room, in other words, someone around me that is smarter than me in a particular area of expertise, or adults that I have followed, do follow, or will follow. And what I mean by follow is learn from. You can't innovate. You have to pay homage to those who came before you, alive and dead. Because only then do you understand the road that you're on. Talking about innovation. Then, doing it on your own is an impossibility. So you need not a large group, she's saying. You need a small group of people. So your efforts are not on product development, it's on people development. It was Phil Jackson that says the strength of the team is each individual member. The strength of each individual member is the team. You know, our key person to quote today is Steve Jobs, who simply said, "Great things in business are never done by one person. They're done by a team of people." Now I know over the last few days I've been harping on this team because we got to get rid of the scotoma of thinking that we can do anything on our own. You cannot. You listen, God can give you an idea, but he doesn't give you the idea to be Mr. or Mrs. or Ms. somebody special. He gives it to you as a visionary to collaborate with other people who just aren't visionaries. You just so happen to be the visionary. The idea is not yours. Because you didn't create the idea. The only thing you're doing is innovating from the basis of someone who has already created the basics. And it wasn't you. I cannot take credit for the internet or the microphone or these rings that are blinding me or the studio setup here, which I'm fortunate enough to have with the iPad and the Mac and the Dell. And I can't take credit for this stuff. I can use them for innovation, though. Because innovation is not based upon... Now, it's going to sound like I'm contradicting myself, but I'm not. Innovation is not based upon an original idea. It's based upon improving what has already been developed, which was the original idea. I'll put it like this. It is amazing how much people can get done if they don't worry about getting the credit. Or if they don't worry who gets the credit. That was not my quote, by the way. I didn't create that. In fact, I almost think that the combination of words that we use have already been spoken every which way. Sorry to believe that. We may not have heard them all, but listen, the originality is good. I like being an original person. But I'm not the first one to even think that or say that. See, coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress, but working together is success. You have to wrap your mind around what success really is. Success is really coming together with a team of people and innovating. You have to want to innovate. Geez, 33 minutes has gone by. See, and there is, this whole show is going to be about innovation, by the way. I promised I would give you two things most shows. Today is going to be one because this is a big, big subject. The innovator, or if I can, based upon what we've already talked about, the person that can take what already was and improve it, make it better, distinguishes the innovator slash business leader slash servant from the follower. In other words, followers are not bad. You need mentors. You need mentees. I meant to say mentees first. You need mentees. You need people who are self-employed and just want to play their part. They're not really interested in anything other than selling you the material for the widget. That's all they want to do. I just want to sell you the material for the widget. I just want to design your logo. Listen, I don't want to do, all I want to do, I just want to sell you this material. I don't want to do, all I want to do is I just want to handle the books. All I want to do. All I want to do is make the introduction. I'm not the innovator. I'm the follower. Some innovators are excellent followers in someone else's arena. So the innovator in their arena has to be a leader. We talked about leadership yesterday. And a leader has to have people. So we've already distinguished. To be a leader, you have to lead someone. To be an innovator, you have to have a team. I think we established all that. And I'm going to stop beating this dead horse. This show. I'm done. I think 8 shows is enough, or 7 shows, because I messed up one of the twos. I have to erase one of these shows on YouTube. One of my clients pointed it out to me. So out of 7 or 8 shows, I think I've beat until the horse is dead. I'm not beating physical horses just for you people who love horses. That if you're going into business, you have to have a crew. If you don't have a crew, you're not going into business. You have to have a team. Your team doesn't have to be employees. They can be contractors. But you have to have a team. You have to have people who know more than you. You have to have people who are right there with you. You have to have people you're bringing up. You have to have a team. It has to be a well-rounded team. I've beat that silly for 7 or 8 shows. I'm not going to say that anymore so we can move forward. If you don't have that down, then you're not going to understand anything. That's the reason why I'm not talking about selling widgets right now. We're laying down some foundational work. But innovators also have integrity. Why? They're not trying to impress anybody. Their whole goal is to create something. Well, Paul, you say nothing's created. You know, when I say create, I'm saying take something and make it better. That's creating something. Sometimes when you innovate, you make mistakes. And it's just to admit them quickly and get on with improving your other innovations. You will make mistakes. Now, here's the problem. This is what some of you heard. If you make a mistake, just move on quickly. No, there's a step you missed in there. You have to admit it and move on. If you don't admit it, you'll repeat the same mistakes over and over and over again. Spiritual principle. You know, if you confess your sins, He's faithful and just to forgive you of your sins and cleanse you from all unrighteousness. If you say you have no sin, you make of Him a liar. It's just a principle. It's just a principle. Listen, I know some of you don't believe in those, but listen, it's just a principle. Try it. Well, then again, some of you have already tried it. If you don't confess you have a problem in your head, you really don't think you have a problem. You just know something's wrong. And chances are you're blaming somebody else. No, it's your problem. When I mess up, it's my problem. Sometimes, in fact, I don't mess up and I still say, man, if I didn't do this, maybe I wouldn't have had that. So you have to be an innovator, which is a business, and I'm not going to go down the rabbit trail because we're right here at innovator. So to be an innovator, you have to have certain character traits. One is transparency. You can't be scared of who you are. If you could be open and honest and transparent about who you are, your team that you attract will cover what you lack. I wasn't trying to make that rhyme. Because listen, in your transparency, you're actually attracting the right team. And the right team can collaborate. And don't you have people in your life that are so honest, open, kind of, it's almost uncomfortable, but in that you still love being around them because you don't feel like they're hiding anything. That's what a leader is. A leader has to be that person. People will follow those types of people because they recognize that that person is, we say in slang terms, is going to tell it to them straight. We're all looking for people in our lives that are just going to be straight with us. And not speak from the personal bent of their preference. They're going to look at our perspective on things as well. Because, look, you have to have that type of people around you to innovate. Because it's not about the money. Apple was outspent by IBM by 100 times on research and development. It's not about the money. It's about the quality of the teams. Well, that was back in the day when Apple was less valuable than IBM. And we know now that Apple is one of the more valuable companies in the world. Why? And listen, I'm gonna step out, and I have some Apple products, but I'm gonna step out and say it's not that Apple was necessarily the best product in the world. They were different. They innovated. In fact, the platform was really kind of simple when they first got started. It's not a simple platform now. It was really a simple platform. Then they came out with the iPod, and then things really started getting interesting. See, it's the people who think they can change the world. Those people are the ones who will actually do it. They're crazy enough to think that. You have to, innovators have to be big thinkers. But you have to be able to draw a team in. Are you following me? In fact, I hope you're getting the theme here. So pretty soon we'll start talking about selling the widgets, what it takes to sell a widget. To do that, there has to be certain aspects put in place, which is the boring stuff, the stuff that I love doing. But for the most part, then it's just a matter of determining if your widget, not just, but one aspect is a matter of determining if you really truly have a different widget. And if it can be presented in a different way. Talking about creating a business, creating a brand, and creating a brand new idea. And listen, I'm gonna kind of say something that's a little bit different, but I just want you to follow me on this. Some people say give the customers what they want. I personally agree with Steve Jobs when he says our job is to figure out what they're going to want before they do. Because first of all, people don't really see what innovation is. And listen, because you haven't shown it to them yet. How did you didn't know that you wanted music on one smaller device, and you know, from different people, um, instead of walking around with this square round thing in your head or in your hand, while you had these earplugs plugged up in your ear, and you know, you could listen to one CD on it. And if you walked too fast or too slow, or you shook it, it skipped. And someone had to even innovate that. But you didn't know that you wanted an iPod with, you know, thousands of songs on it, um, that you could download from one source, or, you know, your own little private inventory and slide it on. You didn't know that. Someone had to create it. Someone had to innovate it. You didn't create the songs. You didn't create the formats. You just enjoyed the innovation itself. Well, it's the same for us business owners. We are going to take something and improve it and turn it into something that may look the same but isn't the same thing, because we're going to make it easier for the client or the customer to enjoy the same processes, the same products, the same services a little easier. That's innovation. Yeah. And that's really the ball game today. In other words, that's all I have for you today. But look, the goal is to take each and every one of these classes or podcasts or videos, whatever you're looking at or listening to, and put them together and start creating something for yourself. You might say, well, you know what? I still don't know what it is that I want to do. I might talk about that. I might have something on discovering your passions. Leave a comment. If you happen to listen to this, you've heard that. So leave a comment. If that's something important to you, what can I do to innovate? What can I do to become a business owner? What can I do to discover specifically what I'm good at, something that I'm willing to sacrifice my life for? How can I discover that? And we'll do a series on that as well. We'll do a series on that. But in the meantime, I just want to thank you for listening. Share this information with people you think will benefit from it. Please. I think it's incredible. I am so grateful to have the opportunity to do this, and spend the time doing this. It is an amazing gift, to me, to be able to put these thoughts and record them and categorize them and look back on them, and hopefully share it with the world. Because the beautiful thing about principles is that the principles are true, no matter where you live, whether you live in Morocco, Egypt, the Gold Coast, Ecuador, Kenya, America. The principles are the principles. How we put them to practice is a completely different thing. And that's what we want to help